Ladies and gentlemen, our next session will be presented by Mohammed Al-Kutani, Area Vice President for the MEA at Sitecore. He's a global leader in digital experience management software who is responsible for the company's and region presence and growth strategy, including sales and marketing operations. Mohammed will be speaking on Art of the Possible, delivering memorable experiences with Sitecore. Please welcome on stage Muhammad, and give a big round of applause. Muhammad?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
I have a good feeling about today. Most of the presentation this morning, we're talking 80% of the time about integration, automation, mobility. And I believe if we attended any marketing event 10 years ago, we could barely hear those words. They were more like market segmentation, marketing plans, and how we can be more creative in the physical world. I lived most of my life in the enterprise world. So I come from SAP. I joined Sitecore about 4 months ago. The main reason I made this move is this, what you guys are doing here by uniting those two giant areas, which is IT, digital, and marketing. Because impossible things could happen, and they were happening, and they were supporting us during even the tough times that we experienced during the past 2 years. And it's very dynamic scientifically. We'll go through some numbers, but it's really proven that the world is changing when it comes to your area. And let me start by asking some questions. Who really believes that we do have very solid and good and automated commerce platform? Just for me to sense how many of you believe that today we're ready? Yeah, 50-50. I see some signs on the right of the room. Okay, let me change this to a bit more practical questions. How many of you bought something online over the past week? Okay, we have about 80% of the room. How many of you believes that 80 to 100% of your purchases are actually online? Oh, that's a good number. 50% online? Okay, less than 20% online? Have 3, compared to 50% of the room 2 questions ago. This takes me to the second point, which is the total spend in retail globally was about $5 trillion. And this is only 20% of the retail purchases during the same year. This tells us that there is a huge gap in innovation, and there is a lot to catch up with. And I don't believe this will be done over the coming 3 to 4 years, because if you notice, 2024 will still have more or less the same percentage from 19.5 to like 20-21%. So there is a lot of responsibility that comes on our shoulders to make sure that we catch up with this. And you can analyze how many reasons that could be for us not increasing the share of this. And this is only retail, by the way. I didn't count the whole turnover of what we do globally. So the expectation is that we will have 27x increases in online purchasing in the coming few years. Now, the innovation gap, and this is probably this is around 1 year and a half old survey, where 80% of the executives believe they deliver to their consumers and their customers, 80% of them, a very nice customer experience journey in their digital platforms, while only 8% of their customers agree to this in reality. And the other point that I want to mention is this innovation gap will support us to believe that customer experience is everything. Today in the morning, I had a meeting. I couldn't go to the office of my customer, so we had to meet in a coffee shop. And you know, it's Dubai. So I have my Google map all tagged with new places that I want to try every day. So I picked a random place off my to-do list. It looked fancy, nice. It's called RX Cafe, in case you want to try it. I don't own it, I don't know the owner. But the reason I'm marketing them, I had a beautiful experience. I parked my car, I opened the door. The first question the waitress asked me, how am I feeling today? And it was surprising because usually, where do you want to sit? What do you want to order? And you just eat and leave. It's like a job. I could smell the aroma of the coffee. I could taste a very delicious eggs Benedict. I could sit in a very comfortable, fancy leather couch. I could see a beautiful colors in the design and how this was perfectly done, combining a fancy finishing with a modern touch that was very comfortable to my eyes. So simply, and I decided even before I leave that I'm bringing my wife and my kids in a couple of days maybe, and this could be one of my top destinations because they used my 5 senses to have that beautiful experience. It wasn't only depending on one of my senses, which is tasting, as if it is a cafe or a food restaurant. Now, the transition is how we can take those 5 senses experiences to the digital world. And all of the IT organizations, they have huge responsibility in order to bridge that gap as fast as possible. And this is one of our big ambitions. Also, I learn a lot from kids. So I have 2 daughters. I told you I have my kids. So I have 3 kids, an infant, 3 months old, my first boy, and 2 older sisters, 9 years old and 7 years old. And I'm always close to them because I will never want to feel old. And they always keep me young. I want to try whatever they experience, whatever they do. And most of the stuff that they do, they speak to devices. And we miss this. We know the feature. We talk about it, but we never use it. My daughter does her homeworks, and I noticed that she's excellent in typing, no spelling mistakes. Then I was spying on her when she was in her room. She was actually typing by voice, which was, I didn't know. Should I punish her or applaud her for using the technology? I was really confused because this is a totally new, different era that I cannot compare to how I used to study when I was, pencil writing my homeworks. So I started to type whenever I'm driving. I literally type by talking in Arabic and in English, and it's 90 to 95% correct. So all of those things are there for us to use, but the point I'm trying to make is what we need to do is not only for us, it's for the generations that will live after us. I talked about the technology gap and the innovation gap that we have. I'll talk a little bit about also how content is massively. I'm not going to go through the numbers. You can read them from the south. Probably you know them. However, if you take social media an example, and every one of you pull the phone and refresh LinkedIn, and probably you checked it half an hour ago. Just check on those 30 minutes how many new posts you have seen. Probably you cannot even scroll down to where you checked half an hour ago. How many notifications you have got. How many people posted job changes. How many people have actually liked something. Same thing goes with Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. And I have a figure also showing that 97% of the sellers on social media, they reach their target. Why? Because it is a nice digital experience, one of the good examples that we would like to have. It's easy, it talks to me, it's somehow personalized, and it gives me great pleasure to be up to date. The second point, which is a bit scary for me, but the point is not to really scare you, but how the digital, the whole world is changing. We heard a lot about the pandemic, what the pandemic did to us. We all suffered. It's an old story, not a new one, but it's real. The 2 pictures of Dubai Mall before and after. And all of us, I barely bought something online before the pandemic. And now most of the stuff I do is basically try to find it online. However, I still miss because we are human beings, we are social people. We want to go out and we want to touch things, feel them before we buy them. However, the pandemic, the weather, the climate change that we witnessed, we always hear fires about, Australia or California. Now we had 6, 7 countries during the summer experiencing fires. France, Turkey, Lebanon. So we are experiencing the world population is going up to, 9.7 million by 2050, which is a huge thing. This is completely different, disruptive way of living. If I ask you today, give me a date when the pandemic will finish, nobody can tell. The only way we can do it is how to adapt to it. Like we're wearing masks today, we can breathe, but we need to get together so we can share experiences. But we had to adapt to something in order for us to keep living. So the direction from organizations is to strive to make sure that we provide in the digital world an exact same experience if we have it in the physical world. That's the ultimate goal. I can't remember who talked about Simon Sinek. And Simon Sinek said, great leaders give everyone something to believe in, not something to do. And this is exactly understanding the reason what determine all of our behaviors towards this common goal. And I see it partnership between your IT department, digital department, and marketing department, vendors and clients. It's not anymore a product that we want to provide because it's a journey. Marketing and digital experience, it is not something that I can have it process-oriented, like procurement, for example, RFP, PO, invoice, and payment. It is very creative. It's very elastic. You can go from just designing a content of a website all the way to personalized content, marketing, transacting on that website, making sure that the price I put on that page, I'm 100% sure that the customer will pay it. And it's different from one person to another. And I talk to customers today who are already doing this. Emirates Airlines, for example, Emirates MBD. I was speaking today in the morning with Krishna. So a lot of people are really going towards that direction. Are we there yet? As you can see from the numbers, we're not even there yet. And this is what we really strive to do. We really want to disrupt the market with innovative solutions to move customers from being customers to being fans, brand ambassadors. I was talking to my team 2 days ago on our offsite meeting about an analogy of Golden State Warriors. Any basketball followers here? Yeah. So we have few. So the Warriors is a team that never won a championship for 40 years, and they won their first one like around 4 or 5 years ago. And many business reports were there analyzing how they made that win out of nothing. And this is very inspirational stories for organization. I advise you to read about it because the way they transformed, they didn't have one big player doing all of the points. They worked really as a team to an unbelievable goal. But the point I'm trying to say, one of their main successes, like number one, and this is by Business Insider analyzing a basketball team, was brand and fans ambassadors. They had the highest fans being emotional, and it's the whole organizational behavioral change. Big part of it was on the digital arm that they had as a basketball team. So you can just benchmark with this to any other area that you have and make sure that you walk the exact same step as a basketball team has done. We try to manage the experience A to Z, from content creation all the way to personalized experience, commerce. I'm not gonna talk about what we offer. We have a booth outside. My team is there to answer any question, but we are a very ambitious organization. I'm very emotional about it. I really want to provide value. I really want to partner with the region to make sure that we do to make the impossible possible. And we are already doing a lot of cases towards that direction. The idea is that whenever I talk to our board, is really to have content personalized across everything, across, I don't know, for example, Netflix series. We are striving to make Netflix through CGI integrations, changing content and sceneries as per your preferences. For example, you're seeing a scenery with a BMW car working on it. Your friend likes Mercedes more. He could see the same scenery with a Mercedes car instead of BMW. So content personalization will be there very soon. And a lot of researches and a lot of acquisitions are being done towards that direction. It's just a matter of time. And just to give you an example of where our ambitions and goals want to reach. Thank you very much. I'll be around for the coming couple of hours answering any question that you may have. My pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you so much, Muhammad, for your engaging session. I felt it was so relevant today.
Thank you.
And we all know now the secret to creating memorable experiences thanks to Muhammad. Please give him a round of applause.